Hi there, and welcome to Art from the Cottage. So I've got I'm going to do a seascape today, paint a seascape, and I've got a nice square canvas, and you'll see that I've painted it dark blue and marked off my sections where my sky and my sea and my foreground are. And I've just put some texture paste on the foreground. That I just use filler, decorator's filler, which you can use artist's texture paste if you like. The colours I'm using today are cerulean blue, sap green, ultramarine blue, crimson, yellow, yellow ochre, white, black, pink, dark umber, rose umber, and cream. And I'm just putting in I've just put in some sort of sandy colour where I want the beach to be. And I'm just putting in now a very underlayer of cloud. And I'm making sure that I don't go near the texture paste in the foreground because that is still wet. And, you know, it's got to be absolutely dry before you paint over that. So I've just put a little bit of a lovely sort of browny, a creamy brown in the sky, just to give that a little bit of warmth as well. And I'm just going in with a little bit more ultramarine, a very dark ultramarine at the very top of the painting. The paint was a little bit thin there. I'm also putting some ultramarine, very dark, into the where I want the sea to be. And I've also added a bit of cerulean on the right hand side as well. You know, you don't want everything to be you want it to be patchy. You want it to be, you know, you can see different colors in there. Right, I'm just putting in the sort of cliffs in the distance, and at the moment I've just used a very sort of khaki colour, what was on my brush in a bit of green really. Doesn't matter because I'm going to go over that and put various colours over it. Just putting a little bit of purple into that sky, and I've mixed it with crimson and ultramarine blue, just to give that sky a little bit of colour. And here I'm putting in a little bit of pink over the sandy parts that I want to be. That's going to be the foreground, it's going to be sandy. So I'm just using up a little bit of paint, the sandy colour, and I've gone over the cliffs with another layer, and there's going to be quite a few layers going into everything really. So now they sort of, I'm putting in some burnt umber. So the cliffs will probably have 4 or 5 layers, and so will every section of this painting. I'm putting in a little bit more highlights into the cloud at the moment. And I'm bringing that cloud down over the cliffs to create a lovely misty look. I always do that. I always bring it down. I'm just highlighting that cloud on the left, and I'll just bring that right down. But all the time I'm exposing the colour that's underneath it. And if I cover some of the colour, I'll put it back later. I'll put that colour in so that there's layers and layers and layers of paint, really, all the time exposing a little bit of the colour that's underneath. Now here I've decided that I'm going to make it irregular. Like the beach is going to, it's not going to be a straight line across. It's going to be layered, and it's going to be irregular, and you'll see what I mean. And now I've decided that I've explained this before. when you put on a dark blue, like ultramarine blue of the sea, and you want to put a white surf over the top, it quite often bleeds through, and you'll end up with a pale blue surf instead of a white surf. So the thing to do is just give it a coat of PVA glue just where you want the surf and let that dry thoroughly, and then you can put your white over the top to represent the painting is starting to look like a seascape. You've got the beginnings of the sky, you've got the beginnings of the foreground, and you'll notice that I've left that texture paste still right to the very end. I want it to dry. So now I'm putting in, this painting is going to be called Safe Harbour, and it's like a marina in the far distance. So I'm putting in the yachts that are in the marina, and I'm just putting them in with a palette knife with white acrylic paint. And I'm putting in a few colours with the yachts, like to represent, lights and buildings and that kind of thing. And I'm just using yellow and red, the crimson. It's just a hint, really. And there'll be yachts on each side of the painting. And you'll see that I'm putting in those bits of yellow and just sort of to represent lights and things like that in the far distance. So I'm just using I've put in the red, a little bit of red and a little bit of yellow, and I'm just using my palette knife, my small palette knife, to put in indications of yachts, the sails of yachts and the masts and that kind of thing. And I'm now putting in the surf because the PVA glue has dried over the ultramarine blue of the sea. And if you get anything, if you get a mark like that, you just dab it out with a damp cloth, and then if it's too messy, you just paint over it. I think, yeah, I'm going to go over with the ultramarine, dark ultramarine, because it looked just a bit messy. So I'm just putting in some little bits and pieces with the in the marina. I'm just putting in some thicker surf as well. And sometimes what I do is I just mix my white with a little bit of texture paste and do the surf that way. I'm just adding layers and layers into this foreground, which is going to be a sandy beach with rocks and that kind of thing. So I'm just adding some pinks. I'm just putting layers and layers over that. And I'm putting in some rocks with the burnt umber and black. And just keep building up. Just build up and build up. So, as I said before in my in other videos, these paintings are layers and layers of colour, and all the time I'm exposing whatever is underneath. Every layer that is underneath, I'm exposing it, but I'm putting on another layer. You see what I mean? And it's all, I try to keep it patchy. I try to keep it very, very loose. This is an impressionist painting. It's not meant to be a realistic look. It's meant to be a soft impressionist painting, really. So everything I do, the sky, the middle ground, the foreground, everything is layered. And of course, when I finish the painting, I will varnish it. And that gives a whole different dimension to the painting. It brings out all the colours absolutely beautifully, and it looks, they look like an oil painting by the time I've finished. So I'm continuing to add to the foreground now, and I'm just adding lights and darks really. And then I'll probably go over the whole thing. Well, not the whole thing, but I'll introduce more pink into the sand, which is what I'm doing right now. Just introduce more pink. I'm adding a bit of white to the edges of, some of the sand, and I'm just using my palette knife and finger for that, just to suggest a bit of surf that's, on the edge of the sand. Notice that I haven't got the sea running in a straight line across the painting. I've got it zigzagging, and I've got it, looking more natural, that the sea is, the tide is going out, and it's left some puddles of water in the sand. And all these things make a painting look more natural. And I'm just going over the surf, just to make it thick and look like actual waves. It's very textured, the sea. I've gone over it and made it quite thick. So I'm putting a little bit more warmth into the sky, and I've just put in a little bit of raw umber and cream into those clouds, so they look a little warmer, really. And this is a good example of, you're able to change these paintings when you've let that section dry thoroughly. You can just change it. You can do what I did there and add a little bit of a warmer color to the sky, or add several colors to the sky, whatever you think would look better. And if it's, if you do it and it's not how you expected it, you could just let it dry and then just go over it with something else until you do have a result that you're happy with. So I'm coming towards the end of the painting. I'm just putting in little bits and pieces, at the moment, nothing drastic. So I'm at the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, it would be really lovely if you would like, share and subscribe to my channel. The channel can be supported by super thanks. And if you'd like to see more of my videos, you can press the notification bell. And with that, I'll say bye for now, and as always, love from Cornwall.